Cole stumbled down the gravel driveway of the old farmhouse in rural Nebraska, the sun dipping low like a blood orange over the endless flatlands, casting long shadows that swallowed his footsteps whole. At 19, he was all lean muscle from baling hay and a fire in his gut that no amount of Bible thumping could extinguish. The air hung heavy with the scent of turned earth and regret, and as the first stars pricked the indigo sky, he hitched a ride with a trucker who smelled like diesel and stale coffee. "Where to, kid?" the man grunted, eyeing Cole's tear-streaked face in the rearview. "Anywhere but here," Cole muttered, pressing his forehead against the cool glass, watching the taillights of his family's life fade into oblivion. That night blurred into a montage of Greyhound buses and all-night diners, the kind where fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets and waitresses called you Han, without meaning it. Cole washed up in Omaha first, crashing on a park bench until the cops rousted him, then sweet-talked his way into a busboy gig at a greasy spoon off I-80. The owner, a grizzled vet named Hank with a prosthetic leg and a soft spot for strays, let him bunk in the storage room amid sacks of flour and canned peaches. "Life's a battlefield, son," Hank said one dawn, flipping pancakes with a spatula scarred from too many wars. "You fight smart or you end up like me, half a man, chasing ghosts." But ghosts were all Cole had. His family. Ma with her flour-dusted aprons and hymns sung off-key, Pa with his calloused hands that once tossed Cole into haylofts with a laugh, had branded him unnatural. It started with whispers after junior year, when Tommy Riley caught Cole stealing glances in the locker room showers. Tommy, with his quarterback swagger and easy grin, had cornered him one humid afternoon behind the bleachers. "You like what you see, Harper?" he'd teased. But there was no malice, just curiosity laced with the thrill of forbidden fruit. Their first kiss tasted like sweat and stolen Marlboros, hidden under the rusted grandstands where the roar of Friday night lights drowned out the world. Word spread like prairie fire. By graduation, Pa's shotgun was loaded not with buckshot but with verses from Leviticus spat like venom. "Abomination," he'd bellowed that final night, face purple with rage, while Ma wept silent tears into her apron, too broken to intervene. Brother Caleb, 2 years younger and already groomed for the family farm, just stood there, arms crossed, eyes hard as flint. "You're dragging us all to hell, Cole," he'd said, voice steady as a preacher's. And just like that, the Harpers erased their eldest son. Omaha chewed Cole up and spat him out after 6 months. Hank's diner folded under a corporate chain's shadow, and with it went Cole's fragile footing. He drifted west, thumb out on highways that stretched like veins across the heartland, landing in Denver with blisters on his soul. There, in a dive bar called the Rusty Spur, he met Jax, a tattooed drifter with a laugh like gravel and eyes that promised escape. Jax was everything Cole wasn't. Unapologetic, wild, with ink snaking up his arms like rivers of rebellion. They tumbled into bed that first night in a motel room that reeked of mildew and regret, bodies crashing like waves against a crumbling shore. "You're beautiful when you're broken," Jax whispered afterward, tracing the freckles across Cole's chest like constellations. For the first time, Cole believed it. They hitched to California together, chasing the myth of reinvention under palm trees and sodium lights. Los Angeles swallowed them whole. Jax waitering at hipster joints in Silver Lake, Cole apprenticing at a mechanic's shop in Echo Park, fixing Hondas for trust fund kids who complained about traffic like it was the apocalypse. Their apartment was a shoebox above a taqueria, walls thin enough to hear the neighbors' arguments in Spanglish, but it was theirs. Nights blurred into mornings of tangled sheets and whispered dreams. Jax talking tattoos in Vegas, Cole fixing trucks in his own shop someday. Love in L.A. felt like a fragile truce. They'd walk hand in hand down Sunset, dodging paparazzi and tourists, ignoring the sideways glances from Midwestern transplants who clutched their pearls a little tighter. "Fuck him," Jax would say, pulling Cole into a dive for cheap whiskey and jukebox blues. But doubt gnawed at Cole like termites in drywall. Letters from home? None. Caleb's birthday card returned unopened. Ma's silent prayers? Echoes in the void. He buried it under engine grease and Jax's touch, but the Heartland's pull was a low hum, always there. Then came the diagnosis. Jax collapsed mid-shift at the restaurant, face ashen as he clutched the edge of a booth. "Just a headache," he lied. but the ER lights painted the truth in stark white. HIV, late stage, complications from years of needle tracks Cole had pretended not to see. The doctor's words landed like shrapnel. Aggressive treatment, but it's advanced. You'll need support. A network. Jax laughed it off in the hallway, that gravelly bark masking the fear. Network? Shit, I've got you, cowboy. That's enough. But it wasn't. Cole became nurse, chef, rock. Boiling down meds into schedules scrawled on fridge magnets, holding Jax through nights of fevered delirium where ghosts of exes and bad decisions clawed at the sheets. LA's glamour cracked open, revealing the underbelly. Clinics with lines snaking out the door, protests for affordable care that Jax dragged him to, signs reading, "Love is the real epidemic." Cole's hands, once calloused from wrenches, now blistered from 4 bags and hospital jello cups. One rain-slicked evening, as thunder rattled their window panes, Jax turned to him, gaunt cheeks hollowed by the virus's theft. "If I go, promise me you won't crawl back to that corn-fed hellhole. Find someone who sees you, Cole, not the sinner they made you." Cole nodded, throat tight, but the promise tasted like ash. Because deep down, amid the beeps of monitors and the sterile sting of antiseptic, he wondered if he was already lost. Months stretched into a haze. Jax rallied, then faltered, a yo-yo on chemo strings. Cole quit the shop to freelance odd jobs. Ubering tech bros through gridlock, delivering DoorDash in the dead of night. Money evaporated like morning fog off the Pacific. Eviction notices yellowed on the door, and pride? That was the first casualty. He called Caleb once, from a payphone outside Cedars-Sinai, voice cracking over the line. "It's Jax. He's sick. We need. Save it." Caleb cut in, tone flat as Kansas. "You made your bed with the devil. Don't drag us into it." Click. The dial tone buzzed like Judgment Day. Jax died on a Tuesday in July, the LA skyline mocking them through the hospital blinds. Billboards for movies about redemption no one believed in. Cole held him as the monitors flatlined. Jax's last breath a rattle that echoed in Cole's ribs forever. "Love you, cowpoke," he'd murmured, eyes already glazing. Funeral was a pauper's affair. Scattering ashes off Mulholland at dawn. Just Cole and a bottle of Jack, toasting to the man who taught him love could be a battlefield worth dying on. Grief hollowed Cole out, leaving a shell that rattled through temp gigs and empty nights. He sold the apartment, pocketed the scraps, and bought a one-way ticket east. Not home, but close enough to feel the pull. Chicago, with its wind-whipped streets and jazz clubs that wept like widows. There, in a bookstore off Michigan Avenue called The Last Page, he met Elias. Elias was the opposite of Jax. Soft-spoken, with wire-rimmed glasses and a laugh that bloomed like spring in the Loop. A literature prof at Northwestern, he stocked shelves part-time, quoting Whitman between dog-eared paperbacks. "Leaves of Grass or Leaves of Heart?" he'd quip, handing Cole a dog-eared copy of Leaves of Grass during a slow shift. Their first date was falafel under the L tracks, rain pattering like applause. Elias listened to Cole's story without flinching, Nebraska's exile, LA's pyre. His hand steady on Cole's knee under the Formica table. "You're not a sin, Cole," Elias said later, in the glow of his Rogers Park brownstone, bookshelves groaning under the weight of worlds unlived. "You're a goddamn poem." They fell into rhythm. Mornings of strong coffee and the New York Times crosswords, evenings tracing each other's scars. Cole's from barbed wire fences, Elias's from a childhood of Orthodox synagogues that preached love but practiced exclusion. Elias's family had disowned him too, a quiet severance after his coming out at bar mitzvah age. "We build our own tribes," he'd say, and for a while Cole believed it. But the heartland whispered. A letter arrived one crisp October morning, postmarked Willow Creek, Nebraska. Ma's handwriting, frail loops on the envelope. Inside, a single page, yellowed newsprint clipping about the farm's foreclosure. Pa's heart attack, Caleb's gambling debts. Debts that had swallowed the harvest, the equipment, the very soil they'd tilled for generations. "Your father clings to machines in Omaha General," she wrote, words blurring into pleas. "We thought you were gone forever. But blood is blood. Come home, son. Forgive us." Cole's hands trembled as he folded it away. Elias found him on the fire escape, staring at the Chicago River like it held answers. "What is it?" he asked, voice gentle as fog off the lake. "Family," Cole whispered, the word a thorn. "They called me sin once. Now they need a savior." Elias pulled him close, heartbeat steady against the city's hum. "You don't owe them your soul, Cole. Remember that." But as winter winds howled down Lakeshore Drive, Cole packed a bag. Not for forgiveness, for reckoning. The road east called, and this time he wouldn't run. The Greyhound rumbled into Willow Creek at dusk, tires crunching over blacktop cracked like old promises. Cole stepped off into a chill that seeped through his denim jacket, the air thick with the ghost of harvest, diesel fumes and decaying silos silhouetted against a bruised sky. The town hadn't changed. Same sagging porches on Main Street, same faded "Jesus Saves" banners flapping from the Baptist steeple, same sideways stares from folks who'd once waved hello. He hitched the last 5 miles to the farm, thumb out under sodium lamps that buzzed like accusations. The Harper place loomed at road's end, a Victorian skeleton with peeling whitewash and a gambrel roof sagging under snowless eaves. Lights flickered in the kitchen window, casting warm pools on the frost-kissed lawn. Cole's boots crunched gravel as he approached, heart hammering a rebel rhythm. The shotgun, Pa's old Remington, leaned against the porch rail, unloaded now, but memory made it lethal. He paused at the steps, breath fogging the air, then knocked. The door creaked open, and there was Ma, thinner than he remembered, silver threading her auburn braid, eyes red-rimmed from vigil or vice. "Cole," her voice cracked like thin ice, hand flying to her mouth. Then she lunged, wrapping him in an embrace that smelled of lavender soap and unspoken apologies. "Oh Lord, my boy, you're here." She pulled back, scanning him like a lost artifact, taller, broader, with city shadows under his eyes. "You look good, strong." He swallowed the lump in his throat, the year's bitterness curdling like spoiled milk. "Ma, how's Pa?" Stubborn as ever. She led him inside, the house a time capsule of faded glory. Linoleum floors worn to paths, walls papered in florals yellowed by sun. The kitchen table groaned under pill bottles and half-eaten casseroles from church ladies. Caleb slouched in the corner, nursing a beer. His once boyish face hardened into jowls and regret. "Well, look what the devil dragged in," he drawled. But there was no heat, just exhaustion. "Save it, Cal," Cole said, voice steady. "I'm not here for round 2. Pa was in the hospital," Ma explained over weak coffee, triple bypass after the attack, compounded by the stress of losing the farm. Caleb's investments, poker nights in Omaha, horse bets gone south, had mortgaged everything. The bank auction loomed in 2 weeks. Without a miracle, they'd be homeless, scattered like chaff. "We prayed," Ma whispered, clutching her rosary beads. "And you came. It's a sign." Cole bit back the retort. A sign? Of what? Divine irony. He'd wired what savings he had from Chicago gigs, but it was drops in a bucket. Elias had begged him not to go alone. "Take me with you. We face monsters together." But Cole needed the solo, catharsis or closure, he wasn't sure. The next days blurred into a grim routine. Dawn drives to Omaha General, where Pa lay hooked to beeping machines, his frame shrunken under starched sheets. Cole sat vigil, reading aloud from Elias's loaned copy of The Grapes of Wrath, Steinbeck's Dust Bowl Wanderers, a mirror to their own unraveling. Pa stirred once, eyes fluttering open, locking on Cole's with a flicker of recognition. "Thought you were gone," he rasped, voice a gravel whisper. "I was," Cole replied, squeezing the bedsheet. "But blood's thicker than hate, huh?" Pa's laugh dissolved into coughs, but in his gaze, Cole glimpsed cracks in the armor. Regret, perhaps, or just the haze of morphine. Back at the farm, tensions simmered. Caleb cornered him in the barn one twilight, pitchforks leaning like sentinels. "You think showing up makes you a hero? After what you did, pardon your ways? Churchfolk talk, Cole. They say you're cursed. And you're bankrupt?" Cole shot back, hay dust motes dancing in the lantern light. "Who's the real curse here, brother?" Caleb's fist connected with the wall, splintering wood. "I did it for us. Pa's treatments, the loans they piled up. I was gonna flip that land deal in Lincoln. His voice broke, revealing the boy who'd once trailed Cole through corn mazes, idolizing his big brother's strength. Guilt twisted in Cole's gut. Caleb wasn't the villain, just a man drowning in his own failures, clinging to the family script that demanded sons be straight arrows, not bent reeds. Nights were the hardest. Ma pressed old photo albums into his lap. Cole at 8, gap-toothed grin astride a tractor. Prom night, arms slung around a girl he'd never kissed. "We were blind, son," she confessed one evening, rocker creaking by the fire. "Your pa the church drilled it deep. Fear of hellfire. But losing you? That's the real damnation." Tears traced her cheeks, and Cole pulled her close, the dam breaking. "I love you, Ma. Always did. That's why it hurt so goddamn much." Word spread through Willow Creek like gossip at a potluck. Pastor Wilkins showed up with a meatloaf and a sermon, eyes narrowing at Cole's Levi's and the faint outline of Elias's Street Christopher medal under his shirt. "Redemption's possible, Harlan," the pastor intoned, ignoring Cole. "Even for the prodigal." Ma bristled, shooing him out. "My boy's home. That's grace enough." But grace was fleeting. The auction date loomed, bids already circling like vultures. Cole crunched numbers on napkins. His Chicago savings, Elias's offer to co-sign a loan, maybe a GoFundMe veiled as family hardship, pride warred with desperation. Then the betrayal landed like a sucker punch. It came via voicemail from Elias, voice tight with hurt. "Cole, call me. Now." Heart sinking, Cole stepped outside, phone pressed to ear under a canopy of stars indifferent as witnesses. "What's wrong?" "Your brother," Elias said, words clipped. "Caleb called the synagogue, my folks' old place. Told the rabbi I'm corrupting you, that we're abominations living in sin. They showed up at my lecture today protesting with signs. God hates fags. Cole, it's everywhere, emails, calls. He's trying to scare you off." Rage boiled up, hot as branding iron. Cole stormed the house, finding Caleb in the den, nursing whiskey from Pa's decanter. "What the hell, Cal? You go after Elias? After everything?" Caleb's eyes were bloodshot, defiant. "Had to. Folks in town, they'd help with the farm if we cleaned house. Pastor said a family prayer chain, donations. But not with your boyfriend in the picture. It's business, Cole. Survival. Survival." Cole's voice rose, echoing off knotty pine walls. "You outed us to hurt us. That's not family. That's poison." Ma burst in, face ashen. "Caleb James Harper, what have you done?" But Caleb just shrugged, collapsing into a chair. "Someone had to draw the line. You're the one who crossed it first." The fight spilled into the yard, fists flying under the harvest moon. Cole's city-honed swings glancing off Caleb's farm-forged bulk. Ma's screams parted them, blood trickling from Cole's split lip. "Enough. We're Harpers, we endure." But endurance cracked that night. Cole packed his bag again, fury a shield against the ache. "Tell Pa I love him," he said at dawn, kissing Ma's forehead. "But this I can't forgive." The drive back to Chicago was a blur of taillights and talk radio preaching prosperity gospels that rang hollow. Elias met him at O'Hare, arms open, no questions. Just a kiss that tasted like home. "We rebuild," he murmured, as they navigated rush hour snarl. But Cole's phone buzzed relentlessly. Ma's texts, pleading. Pa awake, asking for him. Auction in days. Guilt gnawed deeper than betrayal. In their brownstone, amid stacks of syllabi and half-graded essays, Cole confessed it all. Elias listened, then fetched his laptop. Humanities Fund at the uni. Discretionary grants for community impact. I can pitch it. Preserving Midwestern heritage, family legacy. His fingers flew, crafting a proposal that wove economics with empathy. But you have to want this, Cole. Not for them, for you. The call came 3 days later. Grant approved, $50,000 wired pending paperwork. Enough to stall the bank, buy time for a buyer or restructure. Cole hesitated, thumb hovering over Ma's contact. Forgiveness wasn't absolution. It was a choice. "Tell me about it," he texted. "I'm coming back, but on my terms." Wind off Lake Michigan whipped his hair as he boarded the bus again. Elias's parting words a talisman. "You're their lifeline, but don't let them drown you. This time, Cole carried more than baggage, hope, fragile as a fawn, but his own. Willow Creek greeted Cole with tentative thaws. First crocuses poking through snowmelt, the air sharp with promise and peril. Ma waited on the porch, bundled in her wool coat, a thermos of coffee steaming like a peace offering. No words at first, just her hand on his arm, guiding him inside where the house smelled of fresh bread and hospital bleach. Pa was home now, propped in the recliner by the bay window, oxygen tube snaking to his nose, a husk of the giant who'd once hoed rows till dusk. "Son," Pa grunted, extending a hand veined like river maps. Cole took it, grip firm, the calluses a map of shared labors. "Heard about your brother. Foolish. Like me." Cole nodded, sinking into the couch, the springs sighing under him. "We're all fools. Pa, question is, do we learn?" Talk flowed halting, stilted at first, then easing like a jammed plow yielding to oil. Pa spoke of his own youth. A closeted uncle in the 50s, whispers of scandal that drove him to an early grave. "Feared it'd skip to you," Pa admitted, eyes distant. "Church said it was choice, devil's work. But seein' you now, strong, loved, makes a man question sermons." Ma wept quietly, dabbing with her apron. Caleb was absent, holed up in the bunkhouse, nursing bruises and shame. Cole found him there at noon, splitting logs with an axe that bit deep into oak. Sweat gleamed on his brother's brow, each swing a punctuation of penance. "Elias sends his regards," Cole said, leaning against the fence. "Says the protests fizzled. Rabbi called him a light in the darkness." Caleb paused, axe buried in the block, chest heaving. "I was scared, Cole. Farm slippin' away, Pa dyin'. Thought if I fixed you, fixed us." He trailed off, wiping his face with a bandana. "Ain't no fixin' hate. Sorry don't cut it, but it's all I got." Cole stepped forward, clapping a hand on Caleb's shoulder, the same shoulder he'd carried through childhood scrapes. "Sorry's a start, but trust, that's earned." They worked side by side then, stacking cordwood in silence that spoke volumes, the rhythm of labor a bridge over chasms. The auction hall buzzed like a hive on auction day, locals in Carhartts and Sunday best milling under fluorescent glare. Bidders eyed the Harper lots like wolves at a lame deer. Old man Jenkins from the co-op, slick developers from Lincoln smelling opportunity. Cole stood at the back with Ma, her hand icy in his, Pa's absence a void. Elias had flown in the night before. His first taste of flyover country, wide-eyed at the endless skies. "It's beautiful," he'd whispered on the porch swing, lacing fingers with Cole under moth-dappled stars. "Raw. Like you." Now Elias flanked him, suit crisp against the denim sea, laptop tucked under arm like a shield. When the gavel cracked, "Lot 47, Harper acreage, do I hear $200 an acre?" Panic rippled. Bids climbed sluggishly, Jenkins topping out at $150,000, the developers hovering like sharks. Then Elias raised his hand. "250. Gasps echoed. Heads swiveled. The auctioneer blinked. "Northwestern Educational Trust, sir?" "Affirmative," Elias said, voice steady as Lake Superior. "Preservation grant. Agricultural heritage site. Educational demo farm." Murmurs swelled. "Scandal? Salvation?" Jenkins countered at 275, but Elias held firm, the grant's leverage a silent thunder. Final bid, $320,000. Gavel down. The hall erupted. Congratulations laced with side eyes at the fancy city boy who'd saved the day. Outside, under a sky bruising to violet, Ma hugged Elias fierce. "Your family now, young man." Pa, wheeled in by a nurse, gripped his hand. "Heard you teach words. This is poetry." Caleb clapped Cole's back, eyes wet. "Oh, you, brother. More than logs." But high didn't last. That night, over pot roast and Ma's apple pie, the other shoe dropped. Pastor Wilkins arrived uninvited, Bible in hand, flanked by deacons with faces stern as Old Testament prophets. "We've prayed for this miracle," he boomed, nodding at the deed papers on the table. "But sin lingers in the house. Harlan, your boy and his companion, they taint the blessing." The room froze, Pa's oxygen hissed rhythmic protest. Elias stiffened beside Cole, fork midway to mouth. Cole's blood ignited. Taint? We're the ones who pulled this wreck from the fire. You gonna preach now? After your flock turned away when we begged. Wilkins's eyes narrowed. God's grace is conditional, son. Repent, and out. Pa rasped, voice a whip crack. All eyes turned. Out of my house, preacher. You've poisoned enough wells. Ma nodded. Fierce. We've got a new sermon. Love thy neighbor. All of them. The pastor retreated, tail between legs, but his parting shot lingered. The town's watching. This ain't over. Whispers would spread, boycott the farm stand, shun the Harpers. But in that kitchen, lit by Edison bulbs and resolve, a pact formed. Caleb poured whiskeys all around. To Lifelines, he toasted, glass clinking coals. Elias smiled, soft, and under the table, his knee pressed Cole's, an anchor in the storm. Dawn brought decisions. The grant stipulated community involvement. School tours, sustainable AG workshops. Elias brainstormed over breakfast, podcast series on queer rural voices, art installations from Chicago collaborators. Turn the farm into a beacon, he said, sketching on a napkin. Cole watched him, heart swelling. This man, intellectual firebrand with a healer's touch, had crossed state lines for him, faced small-town scorn without flinching. Love, Cole realized, wasn't a curse. It was the compass. Yet shadows loomed. Pa's checkup revealed complications. Fluid in the lungs, more surgery looming. Bills piled anew, the grant a bandage not a cure. Cole fielded calls from LA contacts. Old shop buddies offering freelance mechanic work back west. Temptation tugged, but roots dug deeper. One evening, as fireflies danced in the dooryard, Cole and Elias walked the back 40, scuffed boots kicking up dust devils. Stay, Elias asked, halting by the creek where Cole had fished as a boy. Moonlight silvered the water, turning pebbles to stars. Cole pulled him close, foreheads touching. With you? Anywhere. But here. They need me. We need this. The kiss that followed was slow, deep, tasting of pie spice and possibility. Hands roaming under flannel shirts, breaths mingling in the humid dark. They made love in the hayloft later, loft creaking under them like a lullaby, bodies a rebellion against the world's judgments. Betrayal's echo faded, replaced by fragile trust. Caleb joined therapy sessions in Omaha, court-mandated after a DUI, but earnest now. Anger's a weed. He confessed to Cole one session wait. Gotta pull it before it chokes everything. Pa, too, cracked open. A quiet admission over checkers. Loved you wrong, son. Won't know more. Summer swelled, the farm greening under their hands. Volunteers trickled in, curious locals, uni students bussed from Evanston. Elias's workshops drew crowds, queer roots, reclaiming rural narratives. Cole emceed, voice steady, sharing snippets of his exile. Whispers turned to nods. A deacon's wife slipped him rhubarb pie post-talk. Brave boy, she murmured. A climax brewed in August heat. The county fair, Willow Creek's heartbeat loomed, the Harper booth a test. Pastor Wilkins rallied opposition. Petitions to bar immoral exhibits. Threats scrawled on barn doors. Sinners off the soil. Caleb found the first, knuckles white. We fight or fold? Fight, Cole said. Fire rekindled. Elias wired allies. Glad reps, local allies. Fair day dawned sticky. Midway alive with cotton candy haze and Ferris wheel creaks. The Harper stall overflowed. Heirloom tomatoes? Pride flags subtle in quilt patterns. Flyers for the demo farm. Crowds milled, some hostile, glaring Wilkins acolytes, but more curious, drawn by free samples and Elias's charm. Then the confrontation. Wilkins at the gate, megaphone blaring psalms over the calliope. Repent, Harpers. Your lifeline is a noose. Booze mixed with cheers. Scuffles erupted. Cole vaulted the table, Elias at his heels, pushing through to face the pastor. Enough hate, Cole shouted, voice carrying. This farm's for everyone. Straight, gay, broken, whole. Judge that. A hush fell. Pa wheeled forward. Megaphone snatched. My house, my rules. Love wins. The crowd erupted. Applause thundering, Wilkins slinking away. In the chaos, Caleb embraced Cole, tears salting the dust. Proud of you, big brother. As dusk painted the sky in firework bursts, Cole and Elias stole away to the grandstand, hands entwined. We did it, Elias breathed. Not yet, Cole replied, grin wolfish. But damn, it feels good. Autumn unfurled in golds and crimsons, the farm a patchwork quilt of survival. Pa's surgery succeeded, scars knitting under Ma's watchful eye. He even took up whittling again, carving queer icons, two men entwined from walnut scraps. Art therapy, he joked, winking at Elias. Caleb turned the bunkhouse into a rental for AG tourists, his charm masking the gambler's ghost. The demo farm thrived. School kids planting cover crops, queers from Omaha road tripping for retreats. Elias commuted weekends, his brownstone a pied a terra, but Chicago felt distant. A chapter, not the book. Cole, though, felt the pull both ways. Mornings dawned with dew-kissed chores. Repairing fences with Caleb, their banter laced with brotherly jabs. City softened you? Caleb teased, handing over a hammer. Nah. Cole shot back. Love toughened me. Elias wove in seamlessly, lecturing on soil ethics, seducing Cole in the tractor cab during lunch breaks, diesel-scented and urgent. Their love deepened, roots mirroring the fields. Steady, fertile, weathering storms. Yet humanity's arc bent slow. Town hall meetings crackled with debate. Wilkins's faction pushing ordinances to protect traditional values. Veiled barbs at the Harper experiment. Cole testified once, voice raw. I was your sin. Now I'm your neighbor. Judge the fruit, not the farmer. Applause rippled, but votes split, compromises grudging. Winter bit hard, blizzards blanketing the plains in white silence. Pa's health wobbled, a pneumonia scare landing him back in Omaha, but community rallied. Meal trains from unlikely sources, a deacon shoveling the drive. Grace grows, Ma said, stirring soup. Cole nursed him through fevered nights. Elias reading aloud from Auden's queer odes. Pa's chuckles weak but genuine. Betrayal's scar itched, though. Caleb slipped once, post-holiday bender, confessing a relapse bet at the VFW. Old habits, he mumbled, head in hands. Cole didn't rage, just drove him to an A, sat through the circle. We relapse, we rise, he said. Forgiveness wasn't erasure. It was scaffolding. Spring brought renewal and revelation. Elias proposed under the blooming dogwoods. Ring a simple band etched with leaves of us. Down on one knee by the creek. Marry me, Cole Harper. Let's write our epic. Tears stung. Cole pulled him up, kissed sealing vows amid warbler songs. Hell yes, Professor. The wedding fused worlds. June barn raising turned ceremony. Rafters strung with Edison jars and wildflowers. Ma in lavender lace, Pa teary-eyed giving Cole away. Caleb best man, toast slurred but sincere. To sins that save us. Elias's Chicago kin mingled with Nebraska holdouts, rainbow flags fluttering beside John Deere caps. Vows echoed. In heartache and hay, I choose you. Rings exchanged, cheers erupted, hoedown kicking up dust till moonrise. But life's drama didn't fade to credits. Post-honeymoon, a cabin in the Black Hills, tangled sheets and starlit hikes. Reality intruded. Pa's cancer, prostate, aggressive, diagnosed quiet like a thief. Scans painted grim, months, maybe. The farm, buoyed by grants, teetered under medical debt. Cole and Elias pooled resources, crowdfunding with raw videos. Pa's stories, Caleb's redemption arc donations poured. Thousands from strangers touched by the tale. Hospice came home, the farmhouse a haven of morphine and memories. Pa lingered through harvest, weak hand in Cole's, eyes clear. Proud son. Loved wrong, but loved true now. His passing was peaceful. Dawn light slanting through curtains. Ma's him fading as breath stilled. Funeral packed the Baptist, Wilkins silent in pews back. Eulogy Cole's. He was our rock, flawed as us. Taught that love redeems, even late. Grief wove through them like bindweed. Ma sold trinkets at markets, her smile brittle but blooming. Caleb stepped up, farm manager with a counselor's ear for strugglers. Cole and Elias balanced. Weekends in Willow, weekdays in Evanston adjuncting queer lit. Their home, a fixer-upper on the farm's edge, echoed with plans. Adoption dreams, garden plots. One starlit night, porch swing creaking, Cole leaned into Elias. We became their lifeline. But you're mine. Elias kissed his temple. And the heart lens. Sin to salvation, that's the American story. Years blurred. Farm a nonprofit beacon, drawing pilgrims of all stripes. Ma remarried. A widower with gentle hands, finding joy in twilight. Caleb sobered, mentored at NA. Cole penned a memoir, Cornfield Confessions, bestseller in niche circles, proceeds funding scholarships for rural LGBTQ youth. In the end, not happily ever after, but humanly so scarred, stitched, soaring. Cole stood often by Pa's grave, wildflowers nodding, whispering thanks. For exile's forge, love's fire, the grace of becoming lifeline to those who'd named him sin. Under endless skies he was whole,